and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. You might have joined for this exact reason, who knows. But today, of all days, is the day I am going to sit down, so grab some popcorn, honestly, and I am going to show you exactly how to go through and insert every bit of information that you need for my spreadsheet, for my save file, where if you were to play it and you wanted to use the save file, this is going to show you exactly what you need to do. So first of all, I need to pull another sheet on here for one. Okay. So I hope that this will make sense to everyone and everyone's going to be able to do it. So we're going to do it on 250. Wait, actually, I'm just going to do it at the bottom. No, it'll be fine. 250 will be fine. And then I'll do it at a higher number for the next part. Okay, so obviously, if you're on your first rotation through the world, your rotation will be 1. Your day is going to start out as 1. It's going to be the amount of sim days that you played. So if you start playing this household when you're on day 58 for the other households, it doesn't matter because this household is still going to be on day 1 of their rotation. They're a new home. Then you're going to set the season. So whether it be spring or if the household is played spring and then it changes into summer while you're playing them, or summer, whatever. I'm going to select spring because that's when you're going to start. Let's say our house is named testing, right? Testing. We don't know how much debt they have. We don't know how many savings they have, but the cash, let's say they have 1,000 in cash. Furnishings is if you're renting. Lot value is if you own. So let's say that our new household is only renting and they have 16,000 worth of furniture inside of their apartment. So that is going to be that. We're going to say that we have 1 sim. And if we're renting, if we have a mortgage, if we're owned, if we're student accommodation, if we're mortgage and we're renting, we'll say for these guys, we're just renting. The district that you live in will be in whatever world you live in. So say you live in Willow Creek and you live on a lot in Willow Creek, it'll be whatever district that is in Willow Creek. I can't think of a district off the top of my head, so I'm just going to say Sims Worlds is my district and my neighborhood is going to be Simtopia. Okay? Those are just some examples. These are not legit things. Days played. So on here, say you are starting out with this family, they're your very first family, you would click that you're going to play them Sunday and Monday. If you wanted to play 2 days, if you wanted to play 4 days, you would click Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If you wanted to play 1-day rotations for each household, you would just click Sunday. Whatever you choose, that's up to you. It's all about what you want to do and however you want to go about that. So this is actually meant to be pulled down. We haven't pulled this down because we don't have anyone down here. If your sim is in university, you would tick this. And if you have any sims that are able to go to boarding school, then you would tick this. The way you're going to know this is if this number is like bronze, silver, or gold, then they are going to be considered eligible. And bronze, silver, or gold means you tick this. If they're not bronze, silver, or gold, you untick this. That's as simple as it gets. This is a little extra section for if you want to write a note, like maybe you want to remember that the sim wanted to have a baby. They've tried 2 times, but it wasn't successful. You would write that here. It's just a good spot to keep notes so that the next time you come back to the family, you'll be able to know what's going on. Moving on to the next page. I'm going to go ahead and scroll on down because past all of the sims in the world for us. And I'm just going to do this at like 700. So my households, when you go back here, my household was named testing. So if I click on this down arrow, it's going to bring up all of the different households that we want. But you can just type in what you want. So our household was named testing. And our first name of our sim is going to be test. And the last name is going to be subject. Okay? So that's all that is. Now, you need to choose what your gender is of your sim. Are you a female? Are you a male? Are you non-binary? Are you a female that's trans? Are you a male that's trans? We'll just go with male. The age, whatever age span you are, newborn, infant, toddler, child. I added preteen for modded if you wanted to play with a preteen mod, because I am personally. Teen, adult, young adult, elder. What are you? We're going to be a young adult. And then this is how many days in are you on your lifespan. So we're going to be on our first day with this family. Now, your sexual orientation, you either might like woohoo with females or romance with females, or woohoo with male or woohoo or romance with males. You might like romance with no one and woohoo with no one. And you might like woohoo with male and romance with male and female. For this, I'm just going to make a straight sim. So we're going to do that they like female, female. Pronouns for our sim is either she, her, he, him, or they, them. We're going to go with he, him, because it's a boy. Our life state, we're either going to be a sim, ghost, alien, vampire, werewolf, servo, witch, plant sim, mermaid, reborn, or fairy. I am going to have this be a sim. If you were a hybrid, like your mom and your dad are two different occults. So say your mom is a ghost and your dad is a fairy, that is what you'll do. Because you are a hybrid ghost fairy. The game might not recognize it, but you are. And so we want to make sure that you're included. Generation, if you have any parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, they would be considered your generations above you. If you don't have anyone on your family tree, you're generation 1. Now, religion is something that you can choose to play with or not. It's up to you. Obviously, everyone has their own likes, disbeliefs, beliefs, whatever. If you want to be an atheist, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Judaism, Hinduism, Taoism, or Jediism, this is all up to you. We can just set it as atheist if you don't believe in anything like that. It's all good. If your sim is famous, what star celebrity are they? And do they have a good or a bad reputation? So you could be a 5-star celebrity, but be a bad reputation, or you could be a 5-star celebrity and have a good reputation. That's all that you have to choose for that. Then going on through. So you're going to skip over this when you start filling in if you don't know the information here, because we need to roll for this. And how we do that is we scroll on over. Anything that's written in orange is modded. So if you're not playing modded, feel free to just close that down, get rid of it if you want. You don't need it. If you're playing modded like I will be, you'll need that open. So you have nothing to worry about. So I'm going to go ahead and click on here, and we're going to go over here, and we're going to pick some traits for our young adult. So our young adult is going to be a child of the ocean, and these obviously would be whatever you were when you aged up. They're going to be neat, and they are going to be self-assured. Those are going to be the 3 traits we're going to use today to go ahead and determine our sim's information. So with this all included, we're going to scroll on back here. Beep, 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 beep. We want to go back to the child aspiration. Now, I have created a bunch of different calculators. So on here, we have a bunch of different calculators that are going to help you to determine what you are going to be doing. So to start from the left, this is where you're going to choose your, hold on, let me reload this. Why is this? There we go. Okay, so this is where you're going to go in and you're going to choose your child's aspiration type. So there's only 4 aspiration types: creativity, mental, motor, and social. These are all the traits in the game that your Sims as a child can grab. So what was the trait that we gave our Sim? It was child of the ocean. And so we click over here and we click that our Sim is a child of the ocean. Now, there's other things in here that you might not recognize or you might not have recognized were part of the game. Who knows? But if we keep scrolling on over for our test subject here, and we have played this sim since infanthood, did they get top-notch, happy, or unhappy infant? Which one did they get? We'll go with happy for this. And since you played test subject as a toddler, you would have possibly gotten happy or top-notch toddler. We'll go with happy for right now. So we're going to choose those 2 because those 2 things are going to also be included on here. So you're going to notice happy infant, happy toddler, unhappy infant, top-notch toddler, top-notch infant. All of these are listed, and they're very important because it can really change. As you notice, with just that, we're a motor. If we add happy infant, we're still a motor, but there's a potential for a mental. If we add happy toddler in, it also unlocks creativity. Whichever number is your highest, which as you can see for us, for test subject, is motor, you're going to click on the Child and Teen Aspiration Randomizer. At the bottom, you're going to see this button at the top. Click it. Once you click it, whatever your category was from before, as in we had mental, this, mind and body, is your selected aspiration. So when your child ages up, you're going to know, okay, my kid was in mind and body, right? Now, I'm not going to go through too much, but we just kind of randomized to see if people would have completed their aspirations. If you say were to have completed this as a child, we make it gold. And when it's gold, that tells us, hey, they completed that. And when they completed that, we scroll on over here and you have your child aspirational traits. Okay, so as you can see right here, Sims who achieve the aspiration are gifted with the headstrong trait. So we're going to go back here and we're going to put in that our Sim completed it, so they got headstrong. Now, if you're doing the modded side, also have a section for our children for modded, right? So we have our modded aspirations here, and on the calculator, there is a section right up here for our modded. So we're going to have our Sim end up being in the young upstart. So that is what you're going to put in here. So if you're wondering where these extra things are coming from, it's probably from the mod that they're incorporated from. And if you were to complete this, say, you would also get whatever aspirational trait here. Okay, we're not going to really roll for the modded version. We're just going to be doing the unmodded. So I'm not going to focus on whatever that trait is, but it would go right there if you were looking for that. Now, not only do you have to put in for your children teens, but you have to put in for your teens or teen Sims, teens. So not only do you have to put in for your child aspirations, but you do the teens as well. So when you check this, whatever you get here will be your teen aspiration. So they're going to be live fast. So here we go, live fast. And we're going to say they completed it just for today's demonstration. So if they've completed live fast, then they are going to have a teen aspirational trait here. Now, let's go see if we can just find one that's completed live fast, so it's a little bit easier and I don't have to look for it. Here's one. Let's just scroll on over. And they get the dauntless trait. Okay, so let's go back down to here and put in that our teen aspiration trait is going to be dauntless from completing that. Okay, then when they age up to a teen, as a child, they're either going to have, oh, these aren't right. Uh-oh. Okay, let's pull this down. This should be dragged all the way down, so please forgive me. Okay, so as a child, you can get self-esteem, right? So either your Sim had low self-esteem, high self-esteem, or no self-esteem at all. If you didn't get the self-esteem trait, that's fine. Don't worry about it. But today we're going to put in that we have high self-esteem. Okay, so now we've got our infant trait, our toddler trait, our child aspirational trait, our teen aspirational trait, and the self-esteem trait that we got from aging up to a teen. And we're not going to worry about the modded stuff. Anything that's orange, don't worry about it. If you're not playing modded, they can just stay blank. No big deal. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt anything. And you'll be absolutely fine. Okay, so on the side for modded, if you are playing modded and you're looking for the teen aspiration traits, it's going to be the same thing. because there is no modded teen aspirations. So you have to just pick the same thing. And obviously, if it was completed before, it's completed here. You would also roll to see if you, not roll, but you would mark if you've completed this as well. We're not really worried about that at the moment. We're just going to go worry about what is going to be our aspiration that we're working as an adult. So after the child and teen aspiration, if you're a child, you're going to want to come onto this sheet. It's going to really help you when you are a child. Of course, this should have been done before we moved on to teen, and I do apologize for not doing this first. But we're going to go ahead and do it now, because if you were to be adding in a young adult, this would be very helpful as well to know this. So whenever you're putting in a child, to find out if they're going to be in a club or if they're going to be in no club at all, you're going to tick that they're a child, okay? They're always going to start out, if you're rolling them when they age up, as a C student, correct? So they're going to be checking C. Now, as a child, we were in mental, right? So we took a mental aspiration for our children. So we are going to tick mental. Now, you're going to notice that there's like arts and crafts, cuisine, fashion and beauty, film and literature, fitness, games, learning and discovery, music and dance, nature, paranormal, tinkering, travel and culture, sports, and science. These are based off of the Sims 2 aspiration, which is a mod. You can still go ahead and randomize this even if you don't use the mod. It's going to be very important for you to have this in here, especially for your gameplay, especially if you want to play like that your sim has a specific hobby or whatever. So for our sim, I think I'm just going to go ahead and say that they said that they like sports, okay? So we're going to go ahead and go back to this sheet and we're going to put in here, hey, they like sports. Now over here, we need to add in our Sims traits. Now, if you're rolling for a young adult, make sure that you keep this in the back of your mind, that when they were a child and you would have been rolling for that, you're rolling for them right now for their child club, that they only had the child of the ocean trait. So they didn't have any other trait as a child, except for the fact that they had happy infant and happy toddler. They were the only ones that they would have had. They wouldn't have completed their child aspiration trait yet, or gotten their self-esteem, or gotten their teen aspirational trait, right? So we're only going to put in that they're a child of the ocean. So now, if we go back here, we're also going to need to know, hey, what's the class of our Sims? And if you remember on the first page, the household page, and you look over here, it's red. And so red means he's a broke class. Now, these are all named off of our very famous families: the Broke, the Lotharios, the Pancakes, the Calientes, the Crumplebottoms, the Altos, the Landgrabs, and the Goths. And that just makes them really, really handy and really, really unique to the save file. So at the top up here, it'll do the calculations for you. And as you can see, as a child, it's saying, hey, this kid should go into a club, and hey, the club they should go into is Scouts. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the other sheet, click on the Sims tab at the bottom, and we know that over here for our child club on AN, that we need to put in that our child is a Scout. Okay, now, did our sim complete Scouts? That's the big deal. What were their traits? What were their skills? What was going on with them? And so what we're going to do is on here on 700 as well, because like I said, I'm just going to keep it consistent. That way we can go through. We need to know that, hey, our sim in the testing household, first name of test. Now these will come up again, and our age is that we're a young adult, right? So as a teen, you would have maybe, put in your trait, your skills that you would have gotten as a toddler. You would put in here all the skills, and then as a child, when you were going through and aging up, you would put in, whatever the skills were that you got, right? So those are what you got. We're putting in for what the skills were for the child. So if you get to, say we finish off the entire thing and this is what we end up with in the end, You'd also probably, as a scout, have some fishing. So I'll give you 2 for that. And you probably would also have a little bit of fitness. So we'll give you 2 for that. And that would probably be good. You probably have a little bit of charisma as well, because those are a couple of the skills that you build when you do the scouts. Okay, so that's all of the child skills that we would have had. And now we know that our scout went ahead and finished being a scout. And because you finished being a scout, you got a trait from that, and you got the scouting aptitude. Now, you can technically have more than one of these, because as a teen, you could become a chess master or a resourceful repairer. Whatever you need to do, you tick it, you figure it out. Now, we're looking to see if as a teen, we would have went into a club as well. So we're going to go back here, and we need to look at what we would have gotten. So we would have added in the trait of headstrong. Now on this page with the calculators again, we're going to go through and we're going to find headstrong. And headstrong is right here. Now we're not going to be rolling for our teen sim or our child sim anymore. We're rolling for our teen sim. So we're going to uncheck teen. And let's say as a child, you got your grade up to a B, right, from a C. So you've moved up a little bit in that. You're still in the sports. You still had the mental as a child, so you're going to keep that ticked. Don't untick them. You're not in uni. You're not any of these specific colleges. And as a teen, you picked up another trait, right? So your another trait would be that you ended up being a neat sim. So now you're neat. So we're going to go ahead and add that in. If there was any other traits that you might have picked up through gameplay, maybe they wanted to be squeamish or whatever, you'll go ahead and throw that in as well. This is your young adult trait, so you're not going to put that in. And we already put headstrong in. And the self-esteem you get when you age up to a teen. So this isn't going to be considered quite yet. And your teen aspirational trait isn't either. We can throw in that you were a scouting aptitude, of course, because that is one of the very big things. And that's listed under modded only because there is a mod for it as well. So I just figured let's just keep it there. So if you can't find it, always look under modded. It might be listed under that just as like a extra little tick. So scouting aptitude is what you would have gotten. Now if we look up here, it's still screaming, hey, you're in clubs and you're still doing scouts. So as a teen, you're still doing scouts. But as a child, you already finished scouts. So you also are going to mark this as completed because technically you've already completed this. So you don't need to really get to level 5 because you're already at level 5. So you're good. Now, if your sim was to say, have to do a club and a job, you can do that. If they were to do a side hustle, you'd put that over here. And everything is listed here for you. So if a side hustle is a simfluencer or a video game streamer, if they get those, they're listed over here. If you're doing modded, of course, that would be listed here. And then that would be it. And then if you go to uni, you'd put your university club here. Okay, so we've got everything filled in now. Now we're looking more towards what are we going to be doing as a young adult? What are we going to be having as a primary and secondary aspiration? What's our zodiac sign? Let's go ahead and throw that in. We can throw that in as early as we want. We'll go ahead and say we're a Scorpio. Okay, so now we need to find out our primary, secondary, our aspiration that we're going to be working on, either unmodded or modded. You can have 2 if you're modded, 1 for your primary, 1 for your secondary, and you'll also get a retirement one if you're doing modded. Now you can play these if you want to have multiple. Feel free to have as many aspirations as you want. If you're working through them quickly and you're, kicking them out the, back door, then feel free to keep adding and adding and adding however much you want. We also put the extra trait slots in for you. And also as a teen, I forgot to mention, you might get a character value as well. So you might get argumentative or responsible, whatever you get. Maybe this kid didn't get any. Maybe he wasn't eligible to get any of them, so we just left it blank. But if you did go ahead and get those, they will be considered on the next page for when we decide our aspiration. Okay, so we're good up to here, and we don't have anything else that we need to add in now. And we're getting pretty far into this, and obviously this would be filled out over time. You wouldn't, if you were playing the sim from birth up till death, you're not going to fill this all in at once. This is more so like if you're trying to figure out a sim that you're adding in as a young adult kind of thing. Okay, so now we need to figure out what is going to be our aspiration. So we need to check onto the next page here. I'm going to jump on over, and let me go on ahead and uncheck all of these boxes that are already checked, because we want a fresh slate to start working with, right? So for this, I'm going to put in a character value just for this reason, because I think it will help you guys see a little bit more what we're doing. So we're gonna do good manners just because we can. I mean, you did scouts, right? So like you'd probably have some good manners, I think. Okay, so we have good manners. So if you scroll on down to the bottom, if you're looking for the manners or anything, they're listed down at the bottom. They're either the positives or the negatives. So you're going to go ahead and check all of them that you have. And then you're going to go ahead and go through and check all of the stuff that you've got here. So child of the ocean, neat, self-assured. So let's go ahead and check all of those. So you've got child of the ocean, we need neat, and we need self-assured. Okay, and then on top of that, back at this sheet, I know it's a lot of flipping back and forth, but it will be, if you have two screens, it'll be so much easier. We've already put in good manners. We need to add happy infant, happy toddler, headstrong. So let's go ahead and do those. So we've got happy infant, happy toddler, headstrong, and then we need to add in dauntless and scouting aptitude. So we've got dauntless and scouting aptitude in here. It's not. Okay, we don't need to add that one. That one's not for this part, okay? So you don't need to add in any of the clubs, and you don't need to add in the self-esteem on this sheet, okay? Just the other things that I just showed you need to be added, all right? So now you're going to look. So at the top, you're going to see these numbers. Don't be fooled by them. The number at the bottom is where you're going to look. So my sim is going to be a popularity knowledge sim. And if they are tied, we have tiebreakers up here for you to use. So you just check them until you get the number that you need, one of the numbers you need. Anyways, so we're going to be popularity knowledge. Now, as a young adult, you wouldn't put in your secondary. So I'm going to say that we aged up to an adult now. So your popularity knowledge, is that what I said? Popularity knowledge, yep. So now you've got your two aspirations here. And so you know your primary is popularity. So if you go back to the calculators and you click on the Young Adult Plus Aspiration Randomizer, click this button here at the top, we're looking for a popularity. You're going to be a leader of the pack. Now, leader of the pack is going to be listed here. So we're going to add leader, okay? And then here are your modded ones. So if you're playing modded, you're going to come on over here and you're going to look for popularity. You're going to be a hobby teacher. So hobby teacher. As a secondary, you were, if you look over here, a knowledge sim. And for knowledge, you have ghost whisperer. So ghost whisperer. If you're now an elder, you could go ahead and roll for your retirement as well. And you're going to roll with your primary. So your popularity is going to be golden aged courtship. So we're going to go ahead and put that here. Golden, and you saw it pop up, aged courtship. So now all of that is listed. So we've got everything all the way across now filled in for all of your life states, your generations, your aspirations, all of your traits, all of your primary and secondary aspirations as well. You're also going to go ahead and add in your character values, your infant, toddler, child, teen traits, your part-time or club traits, your self-esteem levels, your clubs that you're going to be doing. And I know it seems like this is never ending, but we now have to figure out what you're going to do with your life. So not only do you have these specific aspirations, but now you need to figure out, who am I going to be in life? What am I going to do? Am I going to be a police officer? Am I going to be a doctor? What am I going to do? So what we're going to do is we're going to mark down that you're the broke class. Please make sure when you do this, you check all of these because they are for each one of the specific things. Unfortunately, we couldn't set it up the way we wanted it to originally, but it's okay. If you just check all of these, you can already see it's working. You're also going to write if you're playing modded, if you need the degree for your career, or if you already have the degree. You're also going to write in whatever end grade you ended up with. So we said B was the last grade they would have gotten. So we'll just stick with the B, say that they just ended with a B. If they meet the entry score or distinguished, I will explain this in a second. Your one true hobby is over here, and I think we picked sports, correct? I think we did. Let's go ahead on over and check. Yes, we picked sports. So sports will get ticked. This is where you're going to pick your character values. I think we said they have good manners from being in scouts. Yes. And you're also going to go ahead and if they have a degree, you'll tick that here. If they don't, just leave it blank. If they live in any of these specific places, so Henford, Sulani, Chestnut Ridge, Delso Valley, they have special careers for those. That's why we put these here. Also, if you're an elder or if you're famous, you'll go ahead and tick these as well. If you have low or high self-esteem, and we said that we were going to have high self-esteem, so that's what we're going to go with. If you have a modded childhood aspiration trait, if you're playing modded, this is where you click it. If you're looking for scouting aptitude and not playing modded, it's up here under the club traits. So don't worry, it's two different. One on this one, I know that can get really confusing. And then you have to put in all your traits again. So you're a happy infant, a happy toddler, you're headstrong, you are a child of the ocean, neat, and self-assured. And yes, I'm pulling this off of my memory. So we've got those three. We've got good manners, happy infant, happy toddler, headstrong. We need to remember dauntless. We've got scouting aptitude. We've got the high self-esteem. So let's go ahead and put in for dauntless. And I think that's going to be all of our traits for now. We don't have anything else. And you're going to see that full time is pulled. Now, if this number was lit up, you would instantly go into a degree. But for this person, they're straight up going to just skip college, go right into full-time career. And if we scroll down, the first number that we see that's lit up is marine biologist. Now, is there another number? No. Our sim is going to be a conservationist marine biologist. Now, if you're playing modded like me, you probably won't be able to get very far because they are going to need a career. But you're going to put in here, conservationist, marine biologist. And then what level are you? Well, I'm starting out at level 1. Possibly. We'll see. I mean, this could change. And if you have 2 part-time jobs, obviously you'll have one level here and 1 level here, and then they will add up. What type of career is this? You ended up going into full-time. Your education will say that you graduated high school. All of these are different things. So like if you only got through some uni, if you graduated uni, private school, if you graduated high school, this actually should say boarding school, high school, school, preschool, not applicable, like you're not in school yet, maybe you're an infant. If you've dropped out of school, if you've failed uni, if you've dropped out of uni, all of these different things are going to be a difference. And then this major is where you're going to put in whatever major you went to if you went to uni. This person didn't, of course. And then this is the modded side. So if you're doing modded, obviously, this is where you could put in your information. And then here is where you're going to pick a sport. So we're going to say basketball. And we actually, to pick this, I want to show you on the calculators that there is one that's called One True Hobby Calculator. So on this, you look for sports. You just tick one of the boxes and it says 2. So you would have gotten basketball. How funny. So that's where you're going to find what your One True Hobby is going to be. They're all listed here underneath all of these, and they each get their own color. And there's a reason for this, which we'll get into in a bit. So yeah. So once you get into your career and you know you're not going to go into university, right? And you're just a sim who's going straight into a career. And I really hope I haven't lost you guys at this point. And if I have, please feel free to ask any questions, okay? Because I'm always free to answer. You're going to have to try and figure out if they're going to get into their career right away or if they're going to have to spend some time applying and to try to get into the career, right? So you've got all of this information in here, and now you need to figure out, am I going to make it in my career? So after you get your career, you get your one true hobby, sub-hobby rolled, you're going to go to this interview finance calculator. And this is your interview calculator here in the top left. So we were a B student and we have good manners. We have high self-esteem. What is our charisma level? I think the only thing we put in for it was like 1 or 2, honestly. So I'm going to say we're charisma level 1 to 3. And then if we have any of these, so we have self-assured, we're not proper, we're not socially awkward, we're not socially gifted, we're not snob, we're not a top-notch infant, we're not an unhappy infant. Now, if you read this here, you need a 15 to pass. So we rolled, after clicking all of our information in here, we rolled 11. Our stats give us a +5, so we equal out to be a total of 16. And now that we're a 16, we know that we immediately get in on day 1 and we get to start our job immediately. You have to get a 15 before you're able to go into your job, and you're only allowed to apply every 48 hours in my game. If you want to do it more, feel free. This is just to kind of make it so like you don't always immediately get the job, because like in The Sims 4, if you get a job, you get a job. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so that is going to go in there. And then our info skills, say these are all the skills we still have, you'd obviously be putting in for all the different skills. They're listed alphabetically, except for the high school skills are listed here, which I don't know if I'll keep this like this, honestly, because I find it kind of annoying to have to backtrack to put in these skills, but that's just me. They are kind of, it's convenient as a teen, but it's less convenient as a young adult. I don't know. But all of the skills are listed across. You just put numbers in and it will color code them kind of like it does up here. Let me kind of show you like this. So it'll color code it for you, and then you can kind of look at it and see kind of where you are in stance with the skills, right? Now, the next tab on here is info education, and let's scroll on down to 700 where we're doing our test subject here. So our household again has to be listed in here. So we are testing, and our first name is test, and our age is young adult. Okay. Our school grade, we ended up with a B. So as you notice, that's already bumping us up to 288. And as a child, we ended up getting up to, how many levels are there in the, let me look at how many levels there are, but how many levels are there in the, I should know this because like seriously, I do this all the time. I want to know how many levels there are in the, Scouts Club. Give me just a second. I'm just looking it up real quick. Or at least I'm trying. 5 levels. Okay. So we need to put in here that you were level 5 in your career, your childhood thingy. And then also, this isn't pulled all the way down. That's annoying. Where is it? Okay, let's pull this down. Sorry about this. So this should automatically go ahead and say, hey, you're a level 1. Now, if I take this off, you don't make it. So you can't, so you notice that this isn't green, but when I redo, when I let it say that you're a level 1 in your career, now you you are able to go to uni. That's what this means. If you meet the entry score and it's green, it means your sim is eligible for uni. So when we were doing the calculator for the aspiration, or the career, excuse me, and it asked if you meet the entry score, if that's green before you go into your career, you would tick this and see how it changed from now, not full-time. It's now saying, hey, you're going to go for a degree, and you're going to either go for biology, physics, psychology, or villainy. So you're going to tick that, and then you would have to randomize which one you would go for. It's really hard because some things like you don't need to do it, but some things you do. Now, if you want to see if it meets distinguished, what you need to do is say you're level 10 in your career. Nope, that didn't even get it for you. You would need like a lot of skills, and I'll show you up here. The number will turn purple like this if you're distinguished. So if you're distinguished, it's purple. If you're entry, it's green. And then you tick that on the calculator and it will help you determine what you're going into. If you don't meet either of them, don't worry about ticking it. Just worry about the fact that it says that you're going into full time. All of it depends on it's calculating like how many skills levels you have. So obviously I didn't give this person very many skills. I'm sorry, person. But I didn't give them very many skills. Some people have a lot of skills, like a ton of skills. So it really just depends on like what your sim has for skills. Obviously, that's going to bump them up or not. But it's good that they can go into uni now. So what this means is if they get their job, and this goes green, that means that if you're playing modded and it says, hey, you need a degree, then you're going to be able to say, awesome. And then you're going to go to uni while you have your career already started, right? And then you're going to put in the university that you go to, the major that you go into, the uni grade that you get at the end, whether it be that you flunk out or whatever, you get what I'm saying. All of that is going to be determined by this little green or purple box, okay? So like this is really important. If it's green, it's important. If it's purple, it's really important. So make sure you're ticking those on the calculators because like I showed you, they do make a huge difference to what you're going into. And so that all is going to make a difference because then you're going to tick like whatever degree you get over here if you get one, and it's going to change what you're going to be as a like in your career. Okay, so that's the education career tab in a nutshell. Nothing really to it. Don't touch any of these boxes. They'll do all the calculations for you. I don't know that we have anything on the scholarships yet, but I'm thinking about how I want to do the scholarships for uni. So that's still like in the making, but it's not as big of a deal right now. But it will end up being something, of course. Okay. So then under the businesses tab, if you end up owning a business, you would put in here the world that the business is in. So we'll just talk about this one. So the world that the business is in, and then wherever the business is. So if it's apartment 1 or apartment 2, maybe you own like a rental lot, whatever. The family that owns it, the sim that owns it in that family, in that household, how much the value of the lot is. So if it's an apartment, it's just the one apartment that you own, then you just put that. And then whoever of your children is going to be your heir, or siblings or parents or whatever is going to be the heir if you pass away, who's going to get it pretty much. And then don't touch this. This will calculate all of the stuff for you. And then if there's any renters in the lot, then they will be listed on this side to keep them out of the calculations because it got wonky. So this is just to keep them out of that calculation, and it's going to keep them on the right side. Okay. Then on the money tab, we're going to go down to 700 again because that's where we are. So 700, here we are, right here. And again, I know this can get really annoying, but the only way that we could fix this so it worked properly is to have this listed by itself. So as you saw, when I put in the household name of testing, it automatically said, hey, that person's net worth is $17,000. It already knows it. It calculates your credit score for you. It calculates the modded credit score for you. And you're going to go with that. If you have a child who is your heir, they would be listed here. If you had multiple Sims, obviously your net worth wouldn't be the same because it would be divided by however many Sims are in there. If you say ended up having, did we not give them any cash on hand? Oh, we gave them 1,000. Why is that not coming up right? Okay. So as you can see, I've pulled it down and it's now saying that they have 1,000 simoleons, which is right. And they have 17,000 net worth. So now let's say that you ended up having to spend 50,000 to get this home, right? You gave yourself a mother load, and now that would be your mortgage, right? If you're using a mod, you might have a mod to tell you how much your mortgage is. And so now you've got some debt in here, and now your net worth has went way down, right? And then you ended up having to take out a loan to pay your bills because you got fired and you lost your job. Well, that's the same thing. You got fired, lost your job, and you couldn't find a new one for a while. So you had to take out a personal loan, say, of 5,000. So that's also something that you've got to pay back now. Now you've got a total debt of 55,000 and you are worth negative 38,300. Not only is this money going to show up here, but it's also going to show up here on your, oh my goodness, on your sheet. Why is none of my stuff working? I forget to pull this stuff down sometimes. So now it's going to show here that you're in debt of negative 55,000. Now say you ended up not being in debt. Okay, so we're going to take off the debt, right? So you're not in debt at all, at all. And instead, when you were a child, you saved 500 simoleons in a banking account for yourself. So, right, so that's going to be added here. There we go. Now it's showing that you're going to have 17,500 because of the 500 that's in your money tab. I really am so sorry that this is not, like all this stuff is not pulled down. I didn't realize that, or else I would have done it before I started because it's ridiculous. Anyways, so that's your money tab. That's all that it really is. A lot of it is like the credit stuff. All of that does it for you. So don't worry about that. The net worth will do it for you, your total debt and your business values. So if I was to say have a business on this tab here and I put in testing, had a business and test was the business owner and the business was worth 5,000. Okay, it says 5,000 here. On the money tab, it says, hey, you own a business of 5,000. So it knows everything for you. So don't worry about that tab either, or that selection either. That is all going to calculate for you. So don't stress over that. Don't stress over trying to figure out what these three things are. They're going to do it all. They're going to do all the math for you if you put everything in properly. Okay. So that's the money tab. Those are like the main tabs that you're going to be using. There is a college spreadsheet here. So you're going to put in the household that you're working on, what the Sim's name is, first and last and first names, what rotation you're on with them, what day you're on with them, how many course credits you're doing. I'm using a mod to make the course credits smaller. I'm also going to probably be using a mod where you can do the uni online, which makes it easier for you to have like a job and do your career at the same time. All of these mods also will be listed on my Discord, so don't worry, you can go check them out there. If the sim is considered an heir or a non-heir, if they're nothing, then just put non-applicable. How much your tuition amount is, if they're played this round, and then their scholarships. And if you look on this side, I've already written up all of the different scholarships that you can have. And I want this to give you a total. So I'm going to tally it all up for you and then have the total down here. So you don't have to calculate it in your head because that's redonks. And then you'll put the scholarships amount here. So any of that, this is how much I'm considering for if you go to uni. So this is private school and like you go to the university college campus kind of thing. This is private school if you do home college. This is like boarding school plus if you do the university campus. And then this is going to be boarding school if you do home schooling, home college. Okay, so that's all of that. And then this spreadsheet is only used for your college sims, so you only need to put your college sims in here, so no worries of putting anyone else in here. We're also making a boarding school for this because you can't really have a boarding school like you can with like Sims 4 or Sims 3. So this is our playable boarding school. We're going to have different houses. So we have different house leaders. This is based kind of on Harry Potter. So if you can't figure it out, well, now you can. So this is the llama house. Their house leader is Elwyn Thistlewood. We have a freezer bunny house, which their house leader is Seraphina Quillstone. We have a gnome house, which the house leader is Gideon Bramblethorn. And we have a Grim house, which is the house leader Milo Vandercrest. And these are the Sims that are in each house. So each house has its own color, blue, pink, green, and black. We have in here the days that you have until they age up. We also have the ages that they are. We also have the genders, their clubs that they're going to be in, their first and last names, what household they came from. And on this side, we've written up a class schedule. So this is more so if you play modded, because with modded, you can set them to do virtual school with a mod that I have. And when you do that, then you allow yourself to just have coursework on the computer, and then the rest of your day is doing whatever. So we've decided to add the written coursework on the computer, and then each day, so like this is all day one here, this one. So from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., you will be doing specific things with each class. So like llamas are going to be doing the written coursework on the computer. The Freezer Bunny house is going to be doing a cross-stitch hobbies class with Professor Quillstone. Gnome is going to be doing a acting class with Professor Bramblethorn. And Grim is going to be doing fishing with Professor Vandercrest. Now, this is going to be separated for some into its own houses. It's all up how do you want to play it. I personally will probably just play them all at the same time. I think it'll just be easier and I'll get it done faster. But like I said, it's depending on how you want to do it. Then you have your student choices. And then down here, you have some like free periods and stuff where you can do some other things. So you can look through this on your own time if you want, when you get this, if you want to play modded. I think it's going to be really fun. These families will still be all together, even for unmodded. And then if you just don't want to play with that mod, then what you'll do is you'll just have them go to like school on their own. And that'll be that. And then we have our info expenses tab. And this tab is kind of important. This is your taxes. Like if you played taxes in The Sims 2, if you've ever played The Sims 2, a lot of people like to play taxes to kind of get rid of like some of the excess money that people end up getting. So you'll pay your taxes every other round. So like if you pay them the first round, then you wouldn't pay them the second, you pay them the third. If you want to pay them every 2, 4, 6, 8, whatever, you can do that. And this is based off of what your house is. So if you're a broke class, you can only own a home with up to a specific amount. It can only have these specific items. You can only use these specific services. This is more so like if you want to play this way. If you don't want to play this way, feel free to not play this way. It's up to you. And then I have a taxes calculator. So in here, as you can see, if we can find our sim. Oh, maybe not. I don't think our sim was added to this. Okay, well, that's fine. We'll just talk about the prison. So for this, you would go through and say, okay, the prison, well, it's an owned lot. It's owned by a single sim, not a married sim. They're not newlyweds because they're single. How many children do they have? Well, they have 0. So they're not gonna have anything for that. Have they adopted any animals or have they adopted any children? I mean, this round, no. Have they adopted any pets? Yeah, we got 1 dog this round. Do they own a local business? Well, the prison is technically a local business, so they'd have 1. Do they have a small business? No, they don't run a small business as well. Then do they have a bike? No, they would probably have a car. They're in the green eco footprint. They don't have a robot vacuum or a ceiling fan. How many eco items do they have? None. They're a prison. Do they have a generator? Of course. You need a generator. Do they have a wash basin and a clothesline? No. Do they have a recycler? No. How many homegrown plants do you have? Well, probably none. They're probably not growing any plants. Do you have a farm shed? No, we don't have that. Do you have a home phone with no cell phone? If you use, this is more like modded. Nope. Yes. Yes, they do, because they use the pay phones, right? They don't have any nano cans. How many alarms do they have? Well, let's say they have 4, one in each quadrant of the prison. Are they a uni student? No, absolutely not. They have a car, of course, a police car. They are not in the industrial footprint. We already said they weren't. There's no fireplaces. Do they have a condenser unit? Well, of course. That's modded, of course. Do they have a water generator? No. Do they have a washer and dryer? Of course they do. Do they have a hot tub, a swimming pool, a butler, a maid, a gardener, a nanny? Nope, none of those. They don't get those services. Do they have a ranch hand, inheritance lawyer, a sprinkler system? They do have a sprinkler system because of the keeping everyone safe. Do they have a cell phone? Do they have a vault in their home? And how many kids are there for them in boarding school? So once you tick all of this and you get it all set in, then you slide back across and it does all of the things for you. So the gross worth of the prison is 30,000 simoleons. It's timesing it by 10%, which gives you to start with, a tax like what you owe of 3,000. But once you do all of these deductions that it's doing for you, you in the end are going to get 300 simoleons from the city of whatever town you live in. And that is where you're going to go ahead and add 300 simoleons to your Sims household. And now they've got 300 extra simoleons to spend. The only other things that I want to show you is we are creating clubs for each and every one of the side hobbies. So the sub hobbies that were on here with the One True Hobby calculator. Each one of these are going to get their own club, and people are going to get to gather. Whenever you play the leader of it, you'll gather the group, and then you'll have like a night out where you guys all go and do whatever you want to do together. We are also coming up with our own calendar for the months, so this will be implemented into the game as well. And then we also, on the calculators, we have a finance calculator. So say you need to calculate your rent. You're going to put in however much the apartment is before you add any furnishings to it. Keep this at 16. Don't change that. And it will total out to be whatever you owe. Then you need to figure out how much your deposit is if you want to. So how much the apartment was before the furnishings, it's going to divide that by 10%, because we considered that the deposit of your rent would be 10%. And then it's going to give you a total here, and then your deposit and your rent is going to be put here. This number is going to be implemented down here into your deposit and deduction. And this is however much money you have. And then this is how much money you would set them to have in the end. Then we also have a loan calculation. So if you had to take out a loan to pay something, like say you needed to pay your bills and you couldn't afford them, but you could take a loan because the money sheet on this side says that you can get a credit. So if this goes green, let me show you, and it says true like this, then you can take a loan out, and however much it says is how much of a loan you can get. And then you would look over here and figure out like how much your loan is, and then the interest is, you just leave this alone. So then the loan plus the interest, and then like all of these calculations will do it for you, as well as this, and it will tell you the remaining mortgage after you've made a payment. And then however much funds you have minus the payment that you just made will give you however many funds you have remaining after you pay your mortgage payment or your loan payment. Same with the mortgage, same exact calculation kind of thing. So you don't have to worry about that. If you're looking to put lot traits onto your lot, because on here on the info expenses tab, it'll tell you in here how many. So like this one says must have 2 random generated lot challenges. So you'll come here and you'll get 2 lot challenges. Just click this, while Vox's Quake Zone would be what you would get. If you want that random craziness, feel free. If you don't, I totally understand. Then we have a jails and fines tab here. And this, you're just going to go through and check So if your sim works, like if my sim works in the criminal career, every day they come home, they're going to roll for like whatever they do. If they do any of these criminal offenses, like if they're, doing crazy things, if they're stealing from people, if they're hacking, any of these things, you're going to roll for them. So then you're going to put into the calculator if they have a mischief level, what it is, if they have fitness, programming, charisma, if they're in the astronaut career, if there's a secret agent career, the criminal career, if they're a genius, if their practice makes perfect, any of their traits that they might have that are in here, if they're an occult that's in here, if you'd be immune to anything if you're a vampire with the bat form or a spellcaster with a transportalate. If you're an alien with mind control, any of these things, you would be immune to being arrested anyways. And then you have like your negative traits, so like clumsy, you'd obviously get caught a little bit easier. And then this over here is going to tell you how many days in jail you're going to be in or how much community service you're going to do. And yeah, so you're going to have to figure out all of this. I'll show you more of it when we're actually playing because it's a little bit hard to explain and kind of show it because I don't really have anyone to show for it. But yeah, I think that's everything. I know this was a really long, lengthy video and I do really apologize. But I hope that it really will help you guys when you're setting up your spreadsheets for your save file or like not setting up your spreadsheet, but if you're adding to the spreadsheet at any given point in time. Yeah, so that is kind of like what I'm hoping for. This will be helpful for anyone looking back. If you're confused about anything, feel free to give me a message down below to ask any questions. I'm willing to answer any of them. And if you're still struggling to figure this out, once you get your hands on it as well, feel free to reach out to me on Discord at any given time and I will answer you as soon as I can with any questions. I'm going to make like a help channel for people that want to get help with like the spreadsheet and stuff. So like if you need help with something, you can just message me in there and then I'll be able to check it like daily and I'll try to make sure to like get back to those people as soon as possible. Like, so like if I don't see the comment or whatever on YouTube right away, at least I'll see the Discord chat a little bit more. I'll try to like check it like every morning or whatever. So yeah, I hope that this really, really helps you guys and I hope it helps you guys to understand how to calculate everything. I know it's a lot of information thrown at you in like the last hour of me just literally blatantly talking, but yeah, I hope that you guys will really enjoy this. I think it's going to make your Sims very diverse and it's going to make you play in a different way, which playing in a different way is always good because it keeps your inspiration flowing and it keeps your creativity flowing and it really gives you like a break from the same old, same old. So even for me, this is way different. Like I've never played where I roll for my aspirations and things, but I think it's going to be so much fun and I'm so excited to get started. All of the Sims that are already in the world will be rolled when the very like final release is released. So don't worry about that. You won't have to worry about going through and rolling any of them. And then I will eventually make a video for you to show you how to like implement new things into the spreadsheet. Right now, I think it was just enough to just kind of show you how to do this. It is a lot, so I do understand if you need to watch the video multiple times or if you have a lot of questions, like I said, feel free to ask. But I hope this really helps you guys. I hope that you guys will give it a try. I hope that you guys will try the save file as well once it's released for you guys. And yeah, I hope that this helps. All of my social media links are down in the description, so definitely follow them if you feel like you might be one of those people that needs help. Of course, get on the Discord and get in there as quick as possible. If you guys are a member and I have not added you to the subscriber channel, please remember to let me know so I can add you before the first release is released. I think it's gonna be released next week, so definitely make sure to get your name in there if you want to test out the save file and see what's going on with that. And I will talk to you guys in my very next one. Thanks very much for watching.